Go ahead and close down your eyes if you can, relaxing your forehead, smoothing out the corners of your eyes and your mouth. Unclench your jaw and relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. Together we're going to take a nice deep inhale through your nose and exhale out the mouth, letting go. Another deep breath in, really filling up your lungs, and exhale out your mouth, letting go of any tension still in the body. Gently opening up your eyes if you were able to close them. Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Moves with me, your host, Daniela Jentsch. I am very excited about this current topic because it's playing a really big role in my life, and we are going to dive right into peace. What that means, why the people around you actually really, really, truly matter. And we're going to dip on co-regulation, how much we actually are affected by people around us, whether we're speaking to them or not, just through our nervous systems. And this is really super applicable to everyone because it can be your friends, it could be your family, it could be that your mom or dad who has a toddler who needs your support when they are having maybe a tantrum or whatever it is, and how to help soothe people around you and why some people soothe you and some don't. So we're going to dive right in because this topic lately for me has been super, super big. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I have been exposed to the perfect example of why who you surround yourself really, really matters. And it started a few weeks ago actually, and I'm going to give you the story in a very simple way. I was around two different people. I was obviously around more people during that time, but these two were particularly standing out to me. The first person I was around gave off an energy, and obviously I'm used to this now and I'm quite attuned to who's around me, what energy they bring. The first person I was around was someone who you could feel that they had an energy of go, 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 not really a relaxed person, and someone who just kind of projected they maybe feelings out into the world. And that person, to keep it super short, made me afterwards feel very drained, really exhausted, and not really the best feeling was left with me in terms of maybe self-doubt, doubting my worth, doubting the type of person that I am. And I only realized this afterwards, of course, because then there was the second person who was a really magical human and brought so much light and calm, such a super calm person, and always saw really the positive to many, many aspects. And after this interaction with this person, I felt uplifted. I felt really, really elevated. It's, I think, the best word to describe this. I felt super on top of the world just by them being them. And what this story is basically outlining is that the people you surround yourself with, how they bring themselves into the world, if they're constantly in a very negative mindset, how do they view the world? What's their perspective? And how they're working on the inside. Like you can feel when people are not really in alignment if you really tune in, right? So why does this actually matter to you? Why does it matter at all? Well, if we take it all the way back, when we were kids, imagine, even if you are maybe a parent and you're listening, when kids have a tantrum, they are not saying to you, hey, I'm being a brat. I'm being disruptive. I'm trying to make your life difficult. What they're actually communicating is that they don't feel safe and they don't feel like, and they can't self-soothe yet, right? When you're a child, let's say between the ages of 0 to at least 7 of your life, where you don't know how to self-soothe because you have not been taught that. You've only been on this earth for a few years. So we look at our parents and we look to them to help soothe us, to help bring us back to a state of calm. When kids are throwing a tantrum, for example, they are telling us, hey, I don't feel safe, I don't feel good. A good example is, let's say your child is going off to preschool or to grade 1 and they throw a tantrum and they don't want to go to school and they're feeling super like agitated and maybe scared, or they're crying about it and they're just huffing and puffing, what they're trying to tell you is that they feel their nervous system is feeling dysregulated because they don't know how to cope, maybe from being away from you. You are such a big part of their lives. This can also then translate into the rest of our lives, but let's just focus on this example for a little bit. So when a kid is like that, do you think that shouting at them is going to help bring them back to a state of calm? Do you think it's going to help saying to them, yeah, grade 1 is the worst, you're going to have the worst time at school, sorry for you? That's not going to help, right? What is maybe going to help is helping with some co-regulating tools. Maybe a nice long hug. Maybe telling them words of affirmation that everything is going to be okay. Maybe telling them, you know what's going to be so cool? Do you remember your best friend who comes to preschool? She's also going to be there in grade 1 and you're going to have playtime with her. Do you see the pattern here? What you're there to do is to help them soothe and come back to a state of feeling calm, feeling regulated, feeling like anything is possible. Now, this is a child, but as a child, as you grow older, you learn how to self-soothe, or you should. Not many of us were taught that. Sometimes we had caretakers, parents, who would kind of lose it when we were not regulated. They would feel unregulated, right? Because they wouldn't be able to handle it, or they weren't given the tools. They were always doing their best, but not everybody knows this. And this is why I'm really passionate about this topic. I think if more people understood this, then you understand the science and the why behind why people around you, certain people make you feel a way energetically. So even though our caretakers were doing their best and the people around us are doing their best, what's important here is that you get to learn on how you can notice these things in your life. A few years ago, I would have never noticed that someone else's energy might affect me. I would have always thought it's a me thing. I'm reacting in a certain way, or I'm having a bad day, that's why I'm super drained after seeing a friend from 5 years ago. And I think that this is important because so often a lot of how we feel can really easily be remedied by who you spend your time with. Because obviously you always have to be around yourself. You can't escape that. But you do have choice when it comes to the people around you. People's nervous systems, our bodies speak to each other with non-verbal communication all the time. It's our safety system because we pick up more than we can even think to register in our surface level brain. We pick up signals and cues all the time. And one of the biggest things is, and I'm sure you can agree, we are social creatures. We were built and designed to be in communities and to connect with other people and to feel accepted in that group of people. So when I spoke about the story in the beginning of this podcast, there are going to be people in your life that have a different mindset. And when you have a different mindset, you have a different perspective on life, your actions follow suit. If you have people around you that are super negative, and I'm talking about this because we're going into the festive season, you're going to be around a lot of people, friends, family, partners, whatever it may be, children. People give off a certain energy, and it's not just an energy in the sense of like how they speak or what they do. It's really even just their nervous systems. If they are high stress individuals around you who can't self-soothe or regulate themselves, that is projected outwards through their body signals, like their sweat, through their body language. And our bodies, or we, take this in as information, right? Much like a computer. We look at this and we think, we actually don't think on a surface level, like I said, but subconsciously your body is picking up these signals and saying, okay, there might be a threat around. There might be something around that I should be aware of. And your body, your nervous system can literally go into fight or flight by just being around people like this. And I know that this example works for many people. When I speak to people and they say, I live abroad, I've been living abroad for many years, but whenever I come home, I all of a sudden just drop into this teenage version of myself. I have a tantrum, I lose it, I maybe just can't handle it, I'm overstimulated. And this can happen so easily because when you're around people that might bring out certain maybe memories or events that happened where your nervous system didn't feel safe, it can literally just trigger you back into that moment. And why I'm sharing this is not to say don't ever spend time with people like that. That's not the point really. But why not prioritize spending time with people who make you feel good? So that's why when you meet people, you know those people who are just super calm or very positive, very uplifting. They could be loud, but they just have this beautiful energy around them. And that is because they feel safe in their bodies. to be themselves and to be authentic. And they maybe even know how to self-soothe and co-regulate. And co-regulation for me is a big one, because there's so many little tips and tricks that we could just learn to help ourselves, right? So let's say you are feeling, your nervous system is feeling out of whack. You know, maybe you're feeling a little bit anxious on that day, overwhelmed, overstimulated. You could be in a complete freeze mode and you just want to dissociate and be on your phone. Whatever it may be, you'll know when your nervous system is not feeling great, because you then don't feel great, right? They're so interconnected. Your nervous system is you in this world. It's your personality, it's how you're doing on that day. So when you are around people that make you feel good, notice that. I always say everything in life, when it comes to, let's say, lifestyle changes or wanting to live a certain life, it all starts with observation. Yes, definitely make changes to your life. Change certain things as soon as you can. If there's no block, then do it. Live the life that you want to live. But a lot of us get stuck in the zone of, okay, I just need to start, but I don't know where to start. Where you start is by observing. Just take a collective overview of your life. How do you feel after speaking to certain people? How do you feel before you meet them? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you dreading it? And take these notes, and that's where you start. You notice how you feel. And it's actually so simple. Just start being around people that make you feel good about yourself. Not people who make you feel like you're not worthy, people who make you feel stressed just by being around them because they're constantly focusing on everything that's wrong in the world and that the whole world is against them. Let me tell you something. The whole world is not against anyone. It is an active choice. Yes, some people have had it harder, 100%. I don't take away from any of that. However, everybody is going through their version of their ups and their downs constantly. So I might be in a good phase of my life and you're going through a terrible time. That doesn't mean that you don't speak about it. It's not to avoid anything negative going on in your life, but it's always about respecting the different changes in life, and that your perspective always needs to be broadened. It's taking a step back. Realizing it's a bad moment, not a bad life. This is the key. You'll know the people who really, really, really cannot go away from the negative. Everything in their life is horrible. But those type of people, they are not bad people. It's not to say that they shouldn't be in your life. It's more the point of, what do you want to feel like? Who do you want to be? As you know, you become the product of the closest people around you. The people around you infiltrate everything, and you think that you are conscious of it, and you're not. You are subconsciously, like I said, taking in all these little cues, and you taking it in. We are social creatures. We want to be liked. We want to be part of the group. When we're not part of the group, and it's not to say a certain group, it can just any sort of, let's say, even one friend or a big group of friends or your family, we are genetically designed to want to be a part of a community. So when people act in a certain way around you, in order to be accepted, you would do what they do, right? You wouldn't go against their grain. You wouldn't challenge them on things that they are very super proud of to do. If you did that, you might be facing rejection from this group and therefore feeling kicked out of this group and feeling isolated. And feeling isolated and completely alone is one thing that the human spirit was just not made for. A lot of the time we think, I want a certain life. I want to live in a totally different way. Maybe you love your life, but there's a few habits that you just don't enjoy, or things you've outgrown. This is a big one. We change with every season. It's not to say that you're going to stay the same all the time. So you sometimes want to flow into a different era of your life. And the people around you impact that so much more than you know. If you want to change your life, 100% you're going to do it by yourself and internally. But why do you think it's a coincidence that when you start changing your life, certain friends just drop out of your life? It's definitely not a coincidence. It's on purpose, because you've changed your energetic vibration. You've changed who you are physiologically. You've changed your mindset, your behaviors, who you are in this world has shifted. So when people can't relate to that anymore, they feel like they are not part of your group anymore. And then there could be resistance, or there could be whatever clash. However, the simplest, yes, number one, you change your life. You are fully the person who does that. But number two, if you want to make it easier on yourself, spend time with people doing the things you want to be doing in your life. If you say you want to be a fit and healthy person and you want to open your dream business, for example, spend time with people who are doing that, because they are going to be so inspirational to be around. If, for example, let's say a very common example I would say a lot of us have gone through, maybe you went to university or you went through a phase of your life where you went out and you partied a lot, let's say every day, every weekend. Then you're getting to the point of your life, maybe you're getting a bit older, where you say, maybe I don't want to do that so often anymore. I actually really want to run a marathon. I would love to start running and get fit, but none of my friends do that. They're all still in the phase of partying and having not real, let's say, balance in their life. It's difficult to do that on your own if everybody around you is doing your old routine. It is almost impossible. You would have to have the mindset of steel to push through and keep the remaining people in your life, because you need people around you. Do you know how much easier it is when you buddy up with people to achieve things? Collaboration of minds, energy, activities, habits, this is what levels you up in life. It is so important to be around people that make you feel good about who you are and that you feel in alignment. You'll know that time when you've outgrown certain people, or maybe they've even outgrown you and you start to doubt yourself. Whatever it is, become curious about this, and also just be honest. Be honest with yourself. If you have certain dreams, goals, hopes, even just a small change in your life you want to make, be honest about how badly you want it. Because if you really want something, you are going to make it happen no matter what. That's just how it works. And guess what? There's only a positive outcome to this. When you make room in your life for more aligned people, you have to in some way let go of the old. If something is no longer serving you, this is not just people, right? But I think people is one of the biggest ones. It can be anything in your life that you're choosing to let go of. When you let go of people and situations and places and things that no longer serve you, you open up the door to so much more. You open up the door to people who are in alignment with you, people who see your vision and appreciate your vision and appreciate you and accept you as you are. But you will never be around these people if you choose to hang on to the old just because you're scared of facing being alone once in a while. That's why this all goes hand in hand. When you're able to be comfortable with yourself and spend time alone, like I mentioned in the previous episode, or I think it was 2 episodes ago, it's a common theme. But when you're able to do that, when you're able to sit with yourself, then you don't have this big fear of if people don't like you, for example, because you know you've got yourself, and then you make room and you're able to let go and say, okay, I'm letting go of this past stuff. I'm done. I'm actually opening myself up to things that align better with me. People's nervous systems matter. The people around you, if they are constantly stressed, and it's not to say, like I said, it's not to say that they don't deserve friends. That's not the point. But you can be the one to make the change. I also always encourage people, don't assume things. Don't assume that because you want something different, the people around you don't want that too. Sometimes we just don't want to say it out loud. Sometimes there's groups of friends that all elevate together. They all, for example, say, actually, I don't want to do this party thing all the time. Let's find a bit more balance. Let's go for a run on a Saturday, but we can have mimosas at brunch on Sunday. This is the key. People can elevate with you, but you need to be honest about if that's what you want. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Share with them your hopes and your dreams. And if you can feel they're in alignment and they kind of secretly want that too, do it together. But if you've tried that method and it's not working, stop there. Be your best self. Do what you want to do and you will attract the right people, and the wrong ones for you will leave. That is why when you grow, sometimes you fall out of a relationship. Sometimes when you grow, that's why you fall out of friendships. Sometimes when you grow, that's sometimes why you separate from family members. Because you are now operating on a completely different frequency. And I always say this is a very key thing in everything that I mention to people. You are not better than them. This is something I think a lot of people do when they start elevating in their life. They think that they're better than the other people. You're not. You never think that, because there's no better than. I like to explain it in a very simple way. People who, let's say, have certain habits. Remember, humans label everything. Who are we to decide what's good or bad? So if you're doing things that make you feel good, that's great. If other people are doing things that make them feel good, that's also great. It might not be in alignment. And that's why I always say, when you, let's say, leveling up or growing in life, you're not actually leveling up. You're not raising up. Let's say you're not up here, for the listeners who aren't watching, raising my hand up high. You're not up here and the other people down here below on the ground. You guys are all on the same plane, but you actually, when you grow, you just begin to grow apart. But there's nobody that's better than or worse than. That's not how it works. And if you have an inferiority complex and a big ego, that's a whole nother story, and you need to work on that. But at the end of the day, we are all on equal playing ground. Sometimes we drift apart though, and we drift apart horizontally, right? So we're not dropping off away from people or rising up above people. They're becoming so distant that you can't see them anymore. And then you don't align with them, right? And you don't match with their energy. So this is something that I really encourage you to do. And for the listeners who are thinking, okay, but how do I co-regulate? For example, why I bring this in is because it obviously plays a role. You can see when babies are freaking out or screaming, when the mom or the dad or whoever the caretaker is able to hold them and soothe them, that has a huge part of it has to do with how they feel inside. I have a good friend who's a mom, and her baby is the happiest baby and the most calm baby I have ever met. But it's not a surprise to me, because she is such a happy, peaceful, very chilled out human. So she just reflects that to her child and pours so much love into her. But she takes the time to look after her and make sure she is in a good space like that. So often we think it's selfish as a parent, for example, to fill up our own cup and look after our own needs. And we think we have to pour everything into everybody else, for instance, our child. And while that has some truth, you looking after you directly looks after your child or your partner or your friends. If you fill up your cup, you're not being selfish, you're being selfless, because the more you fill yourself up, the more you can pour or give from the overflow. It's a very weird concept to me that people think that it's selfish. It's not selfish. It is the most selfless act of love you can do and that you can give to others. Don't you want to be spending time with people not out of forced necessity that you have to spend time with them, but when you can actually be your best self and spend quality time with them and really just, have a beautiful time together? This is a key thing. We think we have so many roles to play in this lifetime and that we have to fulfill everybody's needs. If you do that, you're just going to burn out. Your nervous system is going to say, sorry, this is not what I was designed for. Your nervous system was designed for connection, quality connection, but equally rest. If you are feeling completely burnt out and you need rest, but you have family gathering after family gathering after family gathering now in the busy season or in December time, your nervous system is going to shout at you and you're not going to actually get that quality time that you want with them. It's not choosing one or the other. It's learning to find that balance, and that's absolutely everything. If you can find that balance of, okay, I'm not going to dedicate 8 hours of my whole day to my family the whole day, every single second accounted for from the moment I open my eyes. I'm going to prioritize myself just for 30 minutes in the morning before that. I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to go on my own little walk, or I'm going to sit and journal and reflect on where I'm at. You're allowed to look after yourself while being there for other people. And a few little tips with co-regulation, maybe for whatever parents or just with your friends, your partner, that I love personally: hugs. Hug the people around you. If you're feeling super stressed out, if you're not having a good day, hug each other. If you don't have someone to hug, that's okay. You can do this solo too. You can give yourself a hug. You can also hum. So the vagus nerve that runs through our entire body, that has a big play on our nervous system, obviously. If you hum or you sing, it stimulates the vagus nerve, and it basically puts your nervous system into a very calm state. So that's something you could do. You could lie on the floor, so back flat on the floor, put your legs in the air against a wall, much easier to do it like that, and just stay there for like 10-15 minutes. It's a great nervous system regulation tool. You can breathe, you can take some deep breaths, you can listen to your favorite podcast on a walk. There's many things you can do. But this co-regulation, remember, if you're calm, you're going to make other people feel calm. So we're so quick to say, my family's stressing me out this holiday season. How's your stress level? Are you calm? Are you feeling regulated? Are you feeling good? Because do not underestimate how powerful it is. Just one person, the ripple effect it has for just one person to say, I'm gonna just take a moment for myself. You come into the room with this calm energy, this peaceful energy. It is contagious. It spreads to everybody. So yes, 100%, the people around us make a judgment call on if you want to spend time with them or not. But if you are going to spend time with people, maybe you have to spend time with them. Make sure you're feeling calm and regulated first, because you can change the whole trajectory of your day and everybody's day around you. That's why we hang out with certain people, right? If you're feeling chaos on the inside, it's normal that you're going to hang out with chaotic people. It's just how the cookie crumbles. So because it feels so safe, it feels like a place where you belong, where your nervous system belongs. So if you want different, you need to be different, and you need to be around different. It's a very simple technique. It sounds much easier than it is. I understand that every situation is different and people have their own complications, but you are allowed to use your free will and decide. With that, just remember, the light that you're constantly seeking outside of yourself is waiting to be acknowledged within. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see each other next week.